This is the Volvo XC40, and it's a Swedish luxury automaker's rival to the BMW X1, Lexus UX, Mercedes-Benz GLA, among other subcompact luxury SUVs. And while it's one of the more expensive of the bunch, it also happens to be the fastest and the most fully loaded among all of its competitors. But is it worth it? That's what you're gonna find out in this review. Only one variant of the Volvo XC40 is now available, and that's this fully loaded T5R design variant, which means you have almost every single option box ticked.
So one of the good things that I like about the Volvo XC40 styling is that unlike the German brands where they're basically scaled down versions of their bigger SUVs, itong XC40 looks completely distinct compared to the XC60. So makikita nyo yung kanyang front end is actually unique to the XC40. So you have this blacked out grille, meron ka nitong mas sharp niyang LED headlights compared to the bigger XC60. Then you also have these itong 19-inch wheels niya, which actually look really good on this vehicle. And that's basically the thing with the XC40, no? So since it focuses on being that youthful SUV, you have this black contrasting roof, which makes it look sporty din. And after all, this is the R-Design variant, talagang it's the sporty variant basically. It's really a youth-oriented crossover luxury SUV. And that's basically the same case at the rear, where you have this signature vertical taillights that are seen in every Volvo. And as with every Volvo, then you have these kanyang shoulders, shall we say, which is very distinct for the type of vehicle that the XC40 is. And that's basically the thing with the XC40. Compared to what the Germans offer, even compared to what Lexus offers with the UX, it has its own unique style. And dude, just look at it, it looks really good. If you think that this is an ugly SUV, you better have your eyes checked.
And with all of that out of the way, it's now time to head inside the Volvo XC40.
So now that we're here in the new Volvo XC40, I love the interior of this car. It's very minimalist, super well designed, and basically as usual with the Volvo brand, there's not a lot of buttons and everything is now migrated into the infotainment system, no? So but before we head to the infotainment system, let's talk about the materials, which are really great. Maganda yung build quality niya. There's plenty of soft touch plastics, and because this is the R-Design variant, no, you have these seats that are upholstered in both leather and Alcantara and suede, no? So as a result of that, the seats do look really sporty, and you also have this aluminum satin silver trim, which looks really good. Really makes the interior really sporty. It brightens up the all black theme, no? It's a good contrast with the all black theme, and basically,
nope.
The interior of the XC40 R design, the buttons and switches are really well placed dito. The volume knob is really easy to reach, and yun nga lang, the drawback of having few buttons is that you have to control everything to the infotainment system for better or worse. So dahil dyan, what happens is yung kanyang climate control now is you have to control it to the infotainment system, which is, you know, for me it's 1 or 2 steps too much compared to like just having to twist a knob. Basically, that's the thing with the XC40's interior. It's really well designed. There's a lot of thoughtful touches. You have storage here sa center console niya, dun sa kanyang sides ng center console. You even have a clip sa kanyang glove box, which you can hang your things, no, your groceries and all that stuff. And yung kanyang doors are also lined with felt, with this fabric thing, no? So the good thing about that is, you know, there isn't anything that will rattle sa kanyang door bins. And let's now talk about the car's infotainment system. It's a Volvo Sensus infotainment system. Again, it works really well, but as I mentioned kanina, you have to control the air conditioning na through the touchscreen, which is, again, yun nga, something that I'm not a fan of. I mentioned that in my review of the Peugeot 5008, and I don't like it here pa rin in the Volvo XC40. But at least the infotainment itself is very responsive, it's very slick. It's Well, it's easy to use naman sa totoo. It's easy to use except for the part nga na you have to control the climate here. You also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and yeah, it's overall a well-designed infotainment system except for the fact nga lang na you have to control the climate controls dun sa kanyang touchscreen. Then of course, you have to talk about the car's Harman Kardon sound system, which I have to commend because it sounds really good. Ang ganda ng sa kanyang Harman Kardon sound system. I like the implementation here much better pa nga compared to the BMW 5 Series and 7 Series, which is actually surprising, no? One of the reasons for that is because the kanyang speakers are located in the car's structure itself, which minimizes vibrations and also makes the quality of the subwoofer, the bass speakers, really good, no? It's a really well-designed sound system, and that also now leads me to talk about the car's back seats. So of course, if you're gonna be in the market for a crossover SUV, you probably have a family to carry with you, diba? But unfortunately, as I said sa aking Nissan Navara review, wala akong pamilya. But I do have a set of friends which I consider as my family. Right? Okay. So anyway, because of that, we have my friend here named Tommy, which will demonstrate us yung space sa likod. Are you happy with the back there sa likod ng XC40? Yeah, so you have, as you're gonna see sa video, he has a good amount of legroom, as you're gonna see, and then in terms of headroom, it's also pretty good for a subcompact luxury crossover SUV. And one of the good things about the Volvo XC40, by the way, is the fact that this SUV is actually quite wide compared to, let's say, a BMW X1 or Lexus UX. So just to demonstrate how wide this car is, Scott, Jude, let's go. Pasok kayo.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Hi guys.
So as you're gonna see, we're not actually petite by Filipino standards. We're actually all quite tall. So for them to fit back there sa likod ng XC40 actually says a lot in terms of the width ng kotseng ito. So yeah, in terms of space, the XC40 is actually one of the best in the subcompact luxury SUV segment.
And then as for cargo space, the Volvo XC40 offers 452 liters, which is ever so slightly smaller than the BMW X1's, though it's still good for the class. This then expands to more than 1,300 liters with all the seats down. As mentioned, there's now only one variant to choose from, and that's this XC40 T5R design. As such, you now get a 2-liter turbocharged gasoline engine, and this makes the Volvo XC40 one of the most powerful in its class. Power is then sent to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic transmission.
So this small subcompact luxury crossover SUV focuses more on being comfortable rather than sporty. So sure, this is the R design model, pero despite that, it's still an SUV, a luxury SUV that focuses on being comfortable. So yes, by design ang sporty na tingnan and all, but the moment you drive it, you actually wouldn't think that it's a sporty vehicle because first the steering is super light, as in it's super light, like it's there's actually also not a lot of road feel, no, so you don't really have an idea on what's happening to the front wheels as you're going through corners. And having mentioned that, in terms of handling then, by the way, the ride actually is pretty good, actually one of the best in the segment. I like the ride quality of this Volvo XC40. It's supple, it absorbs the bumps really well, and yun nga, as we go through these corners, the car's body actually leans more compared to, let's say, a BMW X1. And that's more or less basically what the Volvo XC40 is doing. So okay, in terms of brake feel, okay naman yung brakes, na nothing to report about, nothing special to report about. I mean, okay, it stops the car really well, but that's pretty much it. Grip levels are good, though yun nga, since there's body roll, you tend to feel that the car is going to lean through corners. And in terms of the car's engine and the gearbox, so totoo lang, that's one of the things that I observed then. Yung kanang 8-speed automatic, by the way, is there's a bit of lag before you... Actually, this is something with Volvos, no? So I'm gonna overtake this. May onting lag siya, and ayun, it's not as good as the ZF8 speed that you would find in most BMWs na rear-wheel drive. That's still the best transmission for me in the industry. Pero yun, itong kanyang 8-speed automatic, may onting delay if you're actually, let's say, tootling or pootling around town. may onting mga ilang segundo siya bago mag-respond. Pero put it in sport mode actually, and the car will respond to your input sa kanang gearbox. But yeah, for the most part, being a comfortable luxury SUV of course isn't a bad thing to most people. After all naman, they're spending millions of pesos, and what they want of course is to be isolated from the road, no? So for most people, the XC40 is gonna be pretty good. As a matter of fact, probably one of the best subcompact SUVs in its segment as a result of that. It really isolates you from the road, and speaking of then the road, there's not a lot of road noise in this car. So sound insulation in the XC40 is really good. There's not a lot of road and wind noise. Likewise with the engine noise, there's not a lot of engine noise then. And yes, by the way, the engine has 247 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful in its class. But even if it has that much power, the XC40's power delivery isn't really tuned for yung kanang, sportiness. As a matter of fact, it's more focused on comfortable, smooth power delivery. So if you put your foot down, yung kanang power is delivered gradually kaysa yung parang it will push you back to your seat. Okay, yes, it feels fast, yes, but doesn't feel, let's say, yung parang it's trying to break your neck, yung ganong sensation. It's smooth pa rin. And that's always the thing naman with Volvos. They're more on the comfortable, relaxing side of things rather than being sporty, like for example a BMW X1, no? And speaking of that engine, yung kanang engine sa kotseng ito, so currently we're doing 10.9 liters per 100 kilometers. So converted to km per liter, that's roughly around 9.9 km per liter. So yeah, having that much power means na in terms of fuel economy, maganda naman siya. But if you're gonna compare it to the diesel-fed BMW X1, which is really astronomically fuel efficient, well, wala. Talagang malaki yung gap nila in terms of fuel economy. Mas fuel efficient by a huge mile yung BMW X1 na diesel. Though, hindi nalalayo to crossovers surprisingly like the Lexus UX and yung mga other gasoline-fed SUVs din, no? So, getting one of the most powerful subcompact luxury SUVs in the segment doesn't actually have a huge penalty in terms of fuel economy. So now that we're on the highway, and this is where basically yung kanyang comfort-oriented nature truly excels, no? So of course dito the roads are really smooth, really perfect. So yung kanyang comfort-oriented nature is truly amplified here. Again, when you go through expansion joints and all that stuff sa mga tulay ng mga expressway natin, the car absorbs those stuff with delicacy. So here at triple digit speeds, the XC40 feels even more like a tank volt, no, in terms of yung kanyang refinement level. So talagang road and wind noise is so minimal. It's a very serene driving experience dito auto na highway, and it really is a very relaxing car to drive. And kung kanina yung kanyang steering wheel feels very light sa mga twisties and sa mga, sa city speeds and all that stuff, dito sa highway, it weights up and then it becomes more stable. So the steering wheel is now more attuned for stable driving. So there's not a lot of steering corrections that you're gonna do, no, as you're going through the expressway. And basically, the car feels very relaxed dito sa expressway, and everything really has been tuned to deliver a good level of comfort. Actually, one of the best comfortable driving experiences in this segment, no?
The Volvo XC40 starts at a little under 3.9 million pesos, which makes it one of the more expensive subcompact luxury SUVs out there. But this XC40 is pretty much fully loaded in terms of features on all aspects. And of course, being a Volvo, this comes with a full suite of advanced driver assistance tech, such as automatic emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist, and animal detection, along with the usual stuff such as blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, adaptive swiveling LED headlights, and sa totoo lang, I'd rather show you the infotainment system since it shows you all the advanced driver assistance tech this car has. The XC40 also gets Volvo's Pilot Assist, which is basically adaptive cruise control with stop-and-go function, along with lane centering. And it's basically one of the most reliable and advanced adaptive cruise control and lane centering systems out there. So, is the Volvo XC40's price tag worth it? That would be a resounding yes. And that's because you pretty much get a fully loaded luxury SUV for 3.9 million pesos. Of course, understandably, there will still be a number of buyers in the subcompact luxury SUV segment who will find the Volvo XC40 T5R design to be a bit pricey. And that's where the lower spec variants of its rivals come in. But if you want the absolute best in terms of features, performance, and safety in the subcompact luxury SUV segment, then this fully loaded variant of the XC40 will be perfect for you.